Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a great day. As always, a free way to support the channel is by leaving a thumbs up. It does help with the algorithms. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. It says Bitcoin has been able to hold above $19,000 as it has for the past several days. Meanwhile, the Ether options market on Deribit has dipped in December, although a block trade strategy in the $600 to $800 price range has developed. There's not a lot of Bitcoin price news, which I was actually quite surprised about. We've jumped by about $400, give or take, over the last couple of hours. It's really kind of since that. I think yesterday we went over, it was like 18,900 something, then we went over to 19,100, and we were like flopping between that. And now we're actually, if we look at the screen, it says 19,439 US dollars. Bitcoin is one of the very few coins that's actually going up right now. The market's in another one of those situations where Bitcoin is going up, the other altcoins are going down, and their Satoshi prices are also in red. The number that I keep seeing all over the place for any price news that there actually was is constantly 19,500. The idea being, if we can get above 19,500 and stay above 19,500 for however many days we need to stay above that range, then the price will make another run towards $20,000. But a lot of the news right now had nothing to really do, not that it didn't have to do with price per se, but it was very few things that actually had to do with the price of the market. Of course, news like this was still floating around. Ethereum price predictions, Ethereum to 620 next, analysts, yada, yada, yada. We keep getting this over and over and over for every single like major coin talking about where they're going to be going next. And it's more of these coins will not hit these prices until Bitcoin actually moves up as well. The anticipated price for every single person, every single one of us, regardless if you do or do not like Bitcoin, is Bitcoin going above $20,000. We passed by the previous all-time high, which was 19,000. But 20,000 is the psychological number that we need to go by. And then we keep hearing that once we hit 20,000, that will hit 23,000. Which, to be fair, is almost a mimic of what we heard earlier this year. I think it was if we passed by 14,000 that we'd shoot up in price, and lo and behold, we hit 14,000 and skyrocketed up to 19,000 just a couple of weeks. I was going to say days, but it was definitely weeks later. And also still around as well. For those of you not looking at the screen, it says XRP dumps despite DeFi promise and Flare airdrop. This is a stupid title. This happens every single time that there's an airdrop. If people find out that they're going to be getting a coin or anything for free, they buy up the other crypto asset to be able to have more of it so that they can get more of the airdrop. I told you all before, it wasn't me hating on Ripple. It wasn't me not liking XRP. I mentioned all that before. I still have XRP. I haven't sold anything. It's just the reality of that when the actual hype is gone, the price of that coin that people were accumulating begins to fall. And it falls quite rapidly. I think XRP is only down by like 6 or 7%. It's nothing detrimental like a 28% drop, but I told you it was going to drop. Regardless of what Flare might do, it's now time for Flare and the Spark token to actually prove themselves in the ecosystem, that they're useful, that they're going to be used, and that people want to use them. That's what's going to cause that coin to actually rise in price, and not simply because everyone keeps telling me in the comment section how amazing it is, and I simply don't understand it, and DeFi is the future. I'm like, that's great. That's wonderful. I've heard that from thousands of other coins who all claim that they were also going to overtake Bitcoin because they were faster, they did more of this, they had DeFi, they had so-and-so, they were able to do ICOs and STOs as well, and all these coins have completely disappeared. So now it's time for Spark and Flare to do what they have to do to start rising up in price. XRP, as it is a separate asset, is going to have to bring itself back up by its bootstraps as well, because that's what cryptocurrencies have to do. So the price is down, like I told you it was going to be. It'll rise eventually again at some point once we actually hit the bottom and no one is willing to sell their XRP for a certain price anymore. And then as Bitcoin starts going back up in price, the entire market will be lifted and XRP will probably more than likely also follow as well. What is this one? So the major news actually is everyone is waiting with bated breath, if you will, as to what exactly is going to be taking place today. Apparently, the Federal Reserve is having an FOMC meeting where they're going to be discussing the markets and interest rates and this and what the developments are going to be and all these other things. And apparently, if you look around, this is the actual major news of today. For those of you not looking at the screen, it says what to expect from the FOMC. A lot of people are trying to predict if the Federal Reserve is going to keep interest rates currently between 0, which is already incredible. We should have a $38,000 Bitcoin, to 0 to 0.25%. The odds of them increasing the interest rate are very, very slim to none. But people believe that they're probably going to leave it at the exact same level. If they leave it at the exact same level, this is still bullish for Bitcoin regardless, because we know that they have announced before that they still plan on their quantitative easing, pushing money into the market thing until at least 2023, should the market not be back up to whatever at that point. So it says what to watch for when the Fed meets on Wednesday. We have to see what's going to happen. I read another article. I don't even know if I have it somewhere around here. And it basically stated that what happened before, apparently there was another meeting at the 24th of November. I think that's when it was, when the Fed met another time, is that Bitcoin's price moved up in anticipation of it. We got the news that we wanted, but it was kind of another sell the news kind of thing, and people sold off their Bitcoin because we had the answer that we wanted, so therefore people assumed that other people were going to be selling, so they sold off their own Bitcoin, which I still can't mentally understand why anyone would be selling off any portion of something that is going to be a world reserve asset. It just doesn't make any sense to me. And then about, I think, a day or two later, the article said Bitcoin's price started moving back up again. So if prices do fall today, just assume that it has to do with, and I don't know, the cryptocurrency market and many other markets, especially right now, don't really make a lot of sense. And I just I go along with the flow just because I'm like, okay, whatever. I know in the long term, we're going to have major, awesome, cool, mega, explosively gigantic prices. But in the short term, people selling back and forth and talking about this and screaming at me that Chainlink is going to be that. And I'm like, listen, if you don't understand by now, that's really not my fault. I've made like 1,500 videos trying to explain the trends in the cryptocurrency market and to give you the news and to let you really understand exactly where the world is going, especially financially. If you don't get it by now, I really don't know what to tell you. Anyway, the point is the Fed is meeting today to have this little meeting. Not exactly sure what time it's going to happen. Coming days, economy, stumbling, economic activity, recover, Fed activity. I don't know what time this is actually going to take place, but I assume we will see our market react accordingly, depending on when this meeting is done. And without further ado, that's all the price news, if you will, because there wasn't a lot of it. And let's move on. Once again in the news, and it's another 1 step forward, 5 steps back, if you will. A Mt. Gox trustee has filed a draft rehabilitation plan, which promises to return Bitcoin to former Mt. Gox users. The draft rehabilitation plan reads, the Tokyo District Court and an examiner will review the draft rehabilitation plan and determine whether to proceed with the rehabilitation proceedings relevant to the draft rehabilitation plan. Imagine if they just wrote that in a more simpler way. In other words, the rehabilitation plan is under review. Wow. If the Tokyo court approves of it, the return of funds to former Mt. Gox users could be in the near future. Remember what we had last week? Is that these people were going to get their money this week? This has been happening for years, and I can only empathize, sympathize, something-athize with these people. I can't imagine having my money gone for 6 years, and it's constantly at the whim or the behest of people who are like, we'll look at it later. It's been so long. We had news in 2017 that these people would get their money back. And the fact that it's just a draft that has to be looked over and then these people will eventually get back their coins is nonsense. So I guess a lot of the hype, the drama that we had before of these people potentially receiving their coins back this week has all but fluttered away, because I assume we won't hear any major news about these people getting their coins back until next spring, maybe next summer. And that's if this draft bill is actually pushed through. This is major news, as one might have imagined. There's a huge amount of Bitcoin that should be going back to the people who are owed it, as it was theirs. Yeah, I don't really know what more to say about that, other than, like, it's kind of sad. Like, just give them back their money so that the market can also move forward. Like, we keep having scares in the market over the last 3 to 4 years that these people are going to receive their coins back. If these people have received their money back in 2017 like they just should have, I think the original proposition was to give them the old market rate for their Bitcoin, which is complete nonsense. I would have been furious. Just give them back their coins. If their coins had flooded the market, we would have been over that already. We would have gone to a whole nother situation. Anyway, the point is, right, a draft has been proposed to give these people their money back. And I assume that draft is going to take a very long time to actually be put into law. I don't know what word I'm looking for in my head. You understand what I'm trying to say. Anyway, that's the Mt. Gox news. Very sad. And let's move on. Next up, also in, wow, this is super popular news because it keeps happening every single day. In an update that was sent to shareholders about the company's performance this year, Ruffer Investment Company, that is RUFFER Investment Company, revealed its new Bitcoin investment strategy. Ruffer has allocated what is currently worth about 2.5% of its fund into Bitcoin. This amounts to around $15 million purchase, according to Alec Kruger, an economist and a crypto analyst. However, the subsidiary of the UK-based asset manager Ruffer said in the memo, and I do quote, "The exposure to Bitcoin is currently equivalent to around 2.5% of our portfolio. We see this as a small but potent insurance policy against the continuing devaluation of the world's major currencies." In addition, Ruffer Investment Company went on to claim that Bitcoin diversifies the company's much larger investment in gold as well as inflation-linked bonds. The London-based firm also said that Bitcoin acted as a hedge to some of the monetary and market risks that they saw. Here's, I think this is another article talking about it. There were about 38 articles talking about this thing today. This is the daily rich people getting into Bitcoin, investment fund firm getting into Bitcoin, throwing tons of money at the Bitcoin market. It happens every single day. It's either a bank, an investment firm, or a rich person, and then there's always that news where someone's like, oh my gosh, I did not like Bitcoin before, but now I am loving it because it is amazing. And it's like, we know you've been in the market since 2014, so please have a seat. Here's the actual tweet right here from Alex Kruger talking about Ruffer getting into the Bitcoin space. The most important part for me when I read this is that he says, so the allocation represents a small $15 million. I wish I had a small $15 million to invest in Bitcoin right now. This is what I said this before in another video. We're so used to hearing billions, and now trillions keep making their way into our news, and it's expected that we're going to have the world's first trillionaires because of cryptocurrencies sometime in the near future. Who actually knows the time frame? It's more of we've gotten to the point where somebody, someone, anything can take $15 million. You know how much money $15 million is? You would never, ever again. If you have $5 million, if you have $1 million, you never have to work again. $15 million thrown into a digital currency that has only been around for 12 years. And it's a small investment. So here's I believe the press release, if you kind of want to call it that. I can't get into. So I'm so tired, and I can't be the only one. The website's asking me for cookies, and I'm like, I don't bake anything. What do you want? That was a really weird joke, and I had to say it was a joke because I felt in my bones somebody was going to be like, this idiot has no idea what a cookie is, because I've gotten comments like that before. I make a joke and people are like, how do you not understand the market? And I'm like, oh boy. Anyway, the point is, here's the actual press release from them. It says performance update in manager comment, and then they goes over the little thing, and Bitcoin is somewhere around here. So yeah, it did happen, just in case you wanted to know. And here's the other chart for their actual investment allocation as of the 30th of November of this year, which I think it's like a bit old, air quotes, if you will, because the recent purchase of Bitcoin, I believe, just happened. So it's not yet listed on this actual chart. And I only have it here because I know a lot of people like to see these things. Sometimes I go over things and people are like, where's the chart, bruh? And I'm like, it was in the other article. Well, I couldn't see it. So I'm like, okay, so hopefully you can see it this time. Yeah, this is every day now. And I, once again, have to mention that this is the news that we are getting. There's always a company every single day, not sure why, not sure whatever, who comes forward and they're like, hey, look at what we're doing with Bitcoin, 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 Bitcoin. And everyone goes, wow, Bitcoin, and they go, Bitcoin. And it's kind of like this really big thing where they bounce off of each other. And I assume they do it for publicity, same exact way that MicroStrategy and Grayscale have seen like tremendous amounts of inflows of cash. Because you are a brand new company who's getting into the cryptocurrency space. The price of Bitcoin goes up. You made money. I want to make money. Let's join together. But the point of saying that this is the news that we get is that for every one company who's like, yeah, we bought Bitcoin, there's about 9 others who are buying up Bitcoin and they're not saying a word. They're simply buying up in silence because they don't really care about the publicity. It's more that they're trying to accumulate as much as they possibly can without setting the market ablaze in some sort of way. Because once again, that other company who just bought $100 million worth of Bitcoin and who was it, MicroStrategy? Whoever just said that they were buying another $600 million worth of Bitcoin like 5 days ago, that still hasn't been priced into the actual market. Anyway, that's the rougher news, if you will. I think I'm going to have to make another video very soon. I'm already lost on numbers because it happens every single day as to all these companies who are buying huge amounts of Bitcoin because it all adds up. You might not realize it. Have you ever heard that story? Little side note. What is it? It's like the king and the rice, or the rice and the poor guy, or something like that. It's like there was a village down the hill and the king was at the top of the hill and he had a whole bunch of rice and a whole bunch of food. And the guy from the village goes up to the king. He goes, can we please have some food? And the king goes, no, you're poor. Get out of my face. And he goes, well, how about you just give us 1 grain of rice? And the king starts laughing. And he goes, ha, 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 you're poor. Here, have a grain of rice. And the guy goes, can I have 1 grain of rice and tomorrow you give me 2? He goes, that sounds completely fair. He goes, the next day you double it and double it for the next 30 days. And the king goes, that's totally fine. What people don't really understand is the exponential amount of growth that you get from the doubling of something every single day. So it goes from 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, 256, I think 516, and it continues on and on and on. And by the very end of it, the village down the hill has millions and millions of grains of rice, and the king gets really angry because he realizes that he's been tricked. The issue is that we don't have billions of portions of grains of rice. There's only 21 million Bitcoin. A lot of them are actually even lost and gone forever. And these companies every single day, they're not buying 1 Bitcoin. They're buying tons of Bitcoin. And then this continues exponentially until there's no Bitcoin left. And then that's kind of where we end up. Anyway, good job, Ruffer. On your purchase, and I am fascinated to see what happens in the next 3 to 4 years as well. Not only because I believe the world is in a state of chaos, but more so these companies who are allocating $15 million into the cryptocurrencies or whatever. If Bitcoin does a 20x, these companies have made very good profits. And then it gets to the point where other companies go, oh, we should have also entered the market at that point, and then they start putting more money into the Bitcoin space as well. I'm just excited. Not excited, that's the wrong word. I'm interested to see how much money these companies actually end up making from these allocations of Bitcoin into their portfolio. I'm just talking too much. Let's move on. That was that one. That was this one. And okay, this is Bakkt. Bakkt, the New York Stock Exchange backed crypto startup, which offers physically settled Bitcoin futures and options contracts, has announced an all-in-one tracking app for consumers, where one can track loyalty points, gift cards, or any other form of digital reward. The new service would allow users to convert their rewards and loyalty points for cash or even one another. For another person? For another user? Even for one another. Okay, they said we're bringing a new level of convertibility to the market. Join us and sign up for the Bakkt app today. Loyalty memberships and digital rewards have become a core part of the marketing strategy. And by one estimate, there are over 3 billion members of various loyalty programs offered by numerous companies. So the point is they're trying to make it so that you can actually swap your loyalty points, your reward points, for whatever else that you actually want. Because like if you get like a Target card and you have loyalty points on there, I assume Target has a loyalty card. You can't really go to the supermarket and try and buy stuff with it. Like you can't go to Piggly Wiggly and be like, hey, give me some food. It just doesn't really. And I know a lot of people heard Piggly Wiggly and they were like, what in the world is a Piggly Wiggly? The point being, cool. This was also quite popular news. I think Bakkt is a little boring. I think it's cool that they have physically settled Bitcoin, whatever. But sure, I think we even spoke about something like this a year ago. It definitely wasn't Bakkt who was doing it. The idea is that in the future, everything will be digital and convertible for something else, interoperable. So you will be able to eventually be able to take your reward points for having shopped in the supermarket and gone to Target for 14 years into airplane point rewards and kind of stuff like that. But I don't think this news was that spectacular that it had to be all over the place. But alas, I guess because it has to do with Bakkt and the New York Stock Exchange. Sure, why not? Congratulations to them on their new app. Don't they already have an app? Let's move on. Okay, go away from that. An article that appeared on Chinese state media recently has proclaimed that a Bitcoin bull market could be bearish for gold and precious metals. The report, which appeared on China Central Television, or CCTV, apparently claims that a Bitcoin bull market may put long-term downwards pressure on gold. The broadcast was retweeted by 8BTC founder Red Li, an entrepreneur Qiang Wang from DeFi Alliance, and here's the actual tweet right there. Not a lot to really say about this, only a couple of points. China's confusing. And I know it's not just me. I hope it's not just me, because I'd be scared if that's the thing. China keeps saying that they don't mind Bitcoin. Bitcoin's not a threat. Bitcoin's not a problem. And then they go on to release things on TV telling billions of people, 1.5 billion people, how bad it is. Stay away from it. It's a bubble. It's inflationary. It's a so-and-so. Get away from it. It's horrible. And then they release things telling people, hey, you should get into Bitcoin because Bitcoin is a good hedge against things. And it's like, okay. And then the next week they tell people, blockchain, not Bitcoin. Pay attention. Get away from these Bitcoin stocks. Okay. And they go, well, Bitcoin's not that bad. It's a weekly flip-flop. And I feel like I don't know what to do anymore. So why would you as a country announce to your citizens that there is something that is deemed a storage of value, gold, that could be thrown to the side by something that you don't like, Bitcoin? You understand what I'm saying? Why would you announce that to people? Everything within that country is, you want to talk about centralization, it is hyper-centralized. All the news comes from one area. There's no other news that people can get that isn't from the head of the pyramid. So if you don't like something, why would you declare to all your citizens that it could perform better than gold? Which would then tell people, hey, we should get out of gold and potentially buy Bitcoin if it's going to outperform gold and put selling pressure on gold. You understand what I'm saying? And listen, I assume by next Thursday, we are going to have some other news from China pretty much saying that they're throwing computers in the water because they don't like Bitcoin. Something really weird like that, I promise you, was going to happen because it keeps happening all the time. So, not really sure how to move on from this one, but it's fascinating to see, I will say, that we keep getting news from banks and now governments that Bitcoin could put selling pressure on gold. If you don't find that fascinating, I don't know what to say. This isn't weird to anyone. None of this. It's not odd. I almost look this way as if I was going to see someone and be like, can you give me an answer? I think the acknowledgement of Bitcoin as an asset class was already a bit insane. And then to now get governments and mega banks talking about, what does China then think about their gold that they're holding? If they are the sole proprietor and owner of all the news in the country and they released that news to their citizens, that means that they must also know that Bitcoin could put selling pressure on some of their reserves. So does that mean that they're also selling off gold because they don't want to be caught in the downward trend? Okay. I'm going to move on. Where's the mouse? Ooh, why'd that scare me? Okay, let's move on. I couldn't find it for a second. What's this one? Oh, in something that shouldn't be a discussion, But it currently is. Taking on debt is a complex personal decision that should not be entered into without great care and financial consideration. With Bitcoin's recent return to all-time price highs, some moonstruck Bitcoiners have begun taking out bank loans to increase their position on the asset. While this may seem like a short road to riches for some, others view such financial moves as foolish given the inherent volatility in the space. So what happened is that guy Peter McCormick from the What Bitcoin Did podcast, I think I mentioned this 2 or 3 days ago, but we didn't have an article about it, basically announced that he had purchased 2.5 Bitcoin, taking out a $46,000 loan. And over the course of the next 6 years, he's going to have to pay $57,000 back. So a good $9,000 extra from what he actually took out. He said in December 2026, if Bitcoin is at $22,669 I break even. He said, I wanted to borrow a lot more. My cash flow can easily support the $800 monthly. It's bragging right there. But this was the limit I could do with my bank after thinking about the idea for a couple of minutes. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say this once. I cannot and will not ever tell you what to do with your money. It's your money. You're an adult. But understand as an adult that debt can be crippling. Debt can be one of the worst things you will ever experience in your entire life. I grew up with family members who were, and a lot of them still are, in very heavy debt that they cannot get rid of. During the course of 2017, roughly around, I want to say June or July, as Bitcoin was moving up further in price, it became a trend in the thing on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram when people used to post those really cheesy quotes and stuff like that. And also on YouTube, people saying that they had taken out loans to buy Bitcoin. The issue was that Bitcoin kept on going up. So these people were taking out these massive loans and they were still able to show people on their YouTube channel, look at how much money I made. Part of the other issue was that people didn't know how to time the market. People were very new to the market and they assumed that Bitcoin was going to go up forever. The other assumption was that this coin is cheaper than Bitcoin. I can buy that coin because it's definitely going to go up in price. People were thinking that Dogecoin was going to go up to $10 to $100 because if Bitcoin is going to keep going up forever, clearly these other coins will also go up forever as well. By the end of the year, there were a number of videos where people were sitting in their cars crying, or in their homes crying, in the bathroom crying. Why were they crying? Because they took out loans and debt to buy cryptocurrencies, not only Bitcoin, because a lot of people also bought Bitcoin, couldn't time the market and didn't know when to cash out. And people were also taking, by the time we got to 18,000 US dollars per Bitcoin, people were taking out massive loans. When Bitcoin hit 20,000, a lot of people assumed that we were going to continue to around 35,000. That was a general sentiment that we had at that time. And the Bitcoin tumbled down to 13,000. So these people had already lost around $5,000 per Bitcoin from the loans that they had taken out. They thought it was going to go back further up. It was a very difficult time. Like I said, if you choose to take out a loan, that is your prerogative. That is your money that you are going to be playing with. Just please understand, no one knows exactly where the cryptocurrency market is going to go. No one knows exactly how high it is going to go. This is why I make sure to write, usually when I'm doing the things like price prediction. They are predicting it. It is not a given. It is not written in stone. We do not know the future. I'm seeing this all over the place. I'm not sure if people are simply joking, if they're trying to get a rise out of other people, but a lot of people are starting to take out debt to start buying cryptocurrencies. If you can afford it, by all means, go for it. Same exact thing with getting a mortgage on a house. If your monthly cash flow from your job and your passive income investments is $10,000 and your mortgage is $800, $900, $1,200, by all means, please go for it because that's how numbers work. However, I just don't. Yeah. And the other really weird part for me is that for someone as well known and as prominent in the cryptocurrency space to tell other people who may not be good with money as much as he might be, that they took out a loan. This tells other people, hey, you should kind of do the same. People kind of mimic what they see around them. I don't know if it's simply because he doesn't know how big he is as an influencer, but they're definitely, mathematically, if this guy has over 100,000 people listening to his show on a weekly, daily basis, whatever, there's going to be at least 10 people who are going to take out loans. And when the cryptocurrency market falters, they're going to lose. So keep all this in mind. I know it's very tempting. Believe me, I've sat here before. I a couple of weeks ago, I was like, I was thinking about selling property to be like, should I put that into Bitcoin? I was like, just calm down. I know it's very tempting to want to put as much money as possible into the space. Only do what you can afford. Don't FOMO. Stop doing all these crazy things to get into the cryptocurrency market. Anyway, that's the debt news, if you will. It is crazy. And I know by next December, we're going to have another talk because a lot of people... Anyway, let's move on. And to finish things off, it says Ripple is actively planning on offering central banks... It says a tool set. I thought it said a 2CA, and I was like, what the fudge is a 2CA? Offering central banks a tool set that will enable them to implement various forms of central bank digital currencies, according to Ross Edwards, the company's global head of client solutions. In a recent Ripple presentation, Edwards highlights the company's suite of cross-border payment products and enterprise solutions for financial institutions. And he says the company plans to take those developments into the public sector world. He said we're able to further leverage this technology as infrastructure suited to the exploration. I don't know what's going on anymore. The entire point is, we've been getting news quite recently a lot that the people from Ripple have basically found other ways to make money or other ways to be able to implement or use XRP, whether it be the video gaming platform, whether it be with DeFi through Flare and Spark. The other portion that I find interesting, and this is something that I think that they should have done a long time ago, but I think the news was constantly around Ripple XRP, Ripple XRP, Ripple XRP, Ripple XRP, is getting, if part of the issue is that banks don't want to use XRP per se because they really want a very stable kind of thing flowing through their systems, transferring money back and forth, simply use the XRP ledger to issue central bank digital currencies. So the central banks are using their stable coins, but they're using it on top of the XRP ledger, which I think is probably the most genius thing that they could do or implement, because we're going to get companies who are going to bet on XRP as an asset, as a so-and-so, or even maybe use it for remittances. I'm sure we're going to have at least 20, 30 companies over the next 5 to 10 years who are going to actively be using tons of XRP. But I think the most intelligent thing is to go to the banks who you've already partnered with, especially if they have partnered with every single bank in India, and say, hey, issue this new coin that is pegged to your currency and it runs on top of our platform. We have very low fees, and that gets passed on to you because you save tons of money. It's all interoperable. You get to look into the system whenever you want. It's completely transparent. Everybody's a winner. That seems to be the most smart thing for me, because it's still processed on top of the XRP ledger. XRP is still being used to actually do the coin burn as transactions are flowing through it. Anyway, here's the actual, I believe, tweet for it right here. Ripple technology for CBDC. Just makes the most sense. And I'm glad they finally got to this conclusion. I mentioned this before last year, and I was like, they should just really start either issuing stable coins or just using other stable coins. And people were like, don't you dare say that XRP is amazing. And I'm like, okay, well, here we are. We got here. They're doing it. So it's really weird because there's a resurgence in XRP Ripple news, which we didn't have before. I'm hopeful for big things to kind of come our way. The same exact thing with Ethereum and staking and Bitcoin, and there hasn't been any Litecoin news, but you know what I'm saying. Like I just hope that we start getting really good news across the board for all these coins, because at a certain point we have to get to actual usage. It's no longer I've created a platform and this platform is amazing. Show me. I have to see that it's actually amazing and actually being used and actually being adopted and people want to use it and all these other things. Like, because there are multiple platforms that have tons of thousands of transactions per second. You can all do the exact same thing. Now show me people actually using your platform so that I can invest more into it. Anyway, well, hold on. Wait for it. Wait. There we go. Okay. Oh, look at me. I'm smart. I already had it open. All right. Let's go. As always, a very special thank you to my Patreon supporters, Professor Wally from Gunbot University, Crypto Stahl, George Montoya, Wiselink, not TMI, Conan Don't Skip Leg Day, Snacky Chan, Tolik Banan, Auspicious Agile and Blockchain, Navarro Williams, David James, Attila the Han, Yasha Harari, Oscar Maldonado, Utopia 569, Moonman High, Zerp, Joshua Vineyard, Martin Stoyer, Nostromo, John Sarson, The Animal Reader, A Bibliophobia, Todd Mullis, Adam Graysick, Mo Hermaroni, Master Ventures in Thailand, Jared Schneider, Wise Night Owl, 242 to the World, Bankroll Network, Crypto Artist, Coldy, 3D, Damien, Setsuna, Richie Richard III, Vlad the Impaler, Paxis, Nick Mangialavori, Anthony Charles, Jim Garner, Jeremy Fox, Minting Coins, Miller Hitch Test, Everyday, and Kyle Skips Leg Day. Yes to Crypto, Bodie McBoatface, Anytime Fitness, Moss Corner Staff, Arfmedic17, Bake Me a Cake, Tigger Macho Nisa, On Crypto with Lionel, Crayola Michelle, URL, and Bolero Bastos. Thank you all very, very much for your support. Thank you to all the new Patreon members. I thank you for your continued support. You're really absolutely amazing. I love every single one of you. Thank you to everyone who is a clicker of affiliate links, and thank you to everyone who's still here. You're all absolutely amazing. At the moment, Bitcoin is at $19,447 US. This is the upward trend. This is the downward movement that happened, or was it 12 something hours ago? All the coins fell and kind of continued falling, if you will. So Bitcoin is still rising up. There's nothing logically stopping us from hitting 19,500. I assume we should hit it sometime today. I am wondering if this movement upward is in anticipation of the Fed discussion that's going to be happening later on today, and if the price will drop after we get the news that we've been waiting to hear, because that's just because crypto doesn't make any sense. Polkadot is up by 3%. Sure, why not? Everything is like down up, if that makes sense. Like down, but there's still like in a light green, if you will. A lot of coins in red. Cosmos is up by 6%. Sure, why not at this point? VeChain Thor is up by 3%. Theta is up by 4%. Uma's up by 32%, and I'm sure Uma doesn't even know why. Kusama is up by 6%. I thought that said hair. I need to go take a nap. Homeros is up by 3%. If you look at it quick, think of the word hair and look at this quickly. See? Kind of looks like hair. Maybe it's just my eyes. Maybe I need to get them fixed. Anyway, I think that is definitely going to do it for this video. Nothing else I really had to say or wanted to say. There's also extra news. I might try and make another video. I'm just doing a lot. There's another video coming for Money Rules later on today as well, so check that out if you have the chance. I'm just trying so many other platforms. I've been trying to get other things up and running, other businesses also going, and it's like I think I'm just doing too much. I'm trying to like compensate for this year in general, but it's also very draining to do like 15 projects at once. Anyway, I do hope you all enjoyed. I do hope that you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be on this crazy planet. I do hope that it is absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching and or listening, and I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.